Wham blam, let's get it, y'all. Okay, so obviously, as you guys can see from the title, this is how to tint your lace without using, like all those wonky ass products. It's basically like everything. If you wear wigs and maybe do your makeup and things as such, that you should already have at home and shit. Okay, so let's get into it. The products that you'll need are a pressed powder. You don't have to use the exact same pressed powder that I have, but basically anything that mimics scalp. So that means anything that mimics scalp. What I use is LA Colors mineral pressed powder. What is it? CMP 306 True Beige, and I'm like dark, so that's what I use. Because like I said, mimic scalp. And then also any type of brush that you want to use. If you want to know the exact one that I have, just look in the description bar, because that's where it's will be. Then you obviously need something with lace. Here I just have it's like a little frontal. Okay, so the first step is you just pick a spot to start from. I start all the way at the end, and you lightly tap your brush into the powder, and what I'm doing is lightly tapping it into the lace. I'm not doing no hard strokes. I'm literally lightly tapping it because I don't want it to kind of like stain the roots, really. I don't want it to create any type of ombre effect or whatever. I want my roots to still stay true, but I want the scalp to be scalp-like. So I'm lightly tapping it. Right? Yeah. Jamming. Right. All right, girl, come on. I really hate myself. Like, what's going on? So yeah, you lightly tap it into the lace, and then what your oh, I forgot to say, I also use the freeze spray. What that is acting as is the sealant, or kind of like a glue like type of thing. So you tap a section, you seal it with the freeze spray, and then you move on to the next section, and that is the first layer. That's the first round. I'm being a real pussy with this got to be right here, and being hesitant to spray it, because I believe that when I had first tried on the wig and was doing it with my baby hairs, I believe it changed the texture of this wig. So that's why you see me like being kind of hesitant and really trying to give it room to spray, because I really don't want it to get on the hair. And here I am checking it, to make sure that it didn't get on the hair, because I'm not trying to change the hair texture to kinky when it is not. Alright, so here I am basically finished my first layer. As you can see, the color of the lace is tinted. Look at that. It's very, very much browner than it was before. And by the time I get to the second layer, I did some of this off camera, but what I do is I spray it with the freeze spray, and then while it's still like wet and sticky, I tap some more and press some more of the pressed powder into it while it is sticky, so that I can just get more product in there. And that's kind of what I do for like the last touch up, and you will see me doing some of that a little bit into this clip. But that's basically it as far as the actual like the scalp, quote unquote, of the wig goes. And then I go into making the hairline, or the line of demarcation, the edge of the lace, a little bit more realistic. And y'all, all of this was freestyle. Like that's what happens a lot of times when I do my hair or etc. But mainly my hair. I just come up with an idea and I just try it and see if it works. I had watched some YouTube videos about tinting lace and stuff like that without having to, you know, do a whole lot like bleaching and stuff like that. Obviously this is synthetic hair, I'm not about to bleach the lace. And then I don't want the root of this wig to turn brown. So I just came up with this idea, because if we use pressed powder for you know, the center parts or parting space and whatnot, then why can't you just use pressed powder all over the frontal? So yes, so I say that to say there's no magic number for how many times that you need to press the powder in or go in with more layers. You can decide that on your own. All of this was freestyle. All of this was just like a random idea that I had, and was just seeing if it would work. So yeah, if you have any questions, list them below, but I think it's pretty straightforward. You just go through with the layers of the pressed powder. After you're done with the layer, you spray it, move on to the next section, spray it, and then go right back to the beginning. The whole spraying and then putting pressed powder directly after was a freestyle move, and it just worked. So all of this just happened to work. Alright, on to the edge of the lace. Please ignore the fact that this damn camera didn't want to focus. Y'all know I'm working with a manual lens, so don't worry, I will get closer in order for you to see what I'm doing. So I clip back the hair, and what you see me doing right here, before I put any of the concealer on, I am pushing back the baby hairs that are on this lace in order for me to get directly to the edge, like directly. I don't want to get any of this concealer really on the root of the hair, because y'all know, like I said time and time again, I don't want brown roots. So what I'm doing, as you can see, I'm pushing back all of the hair so that I get it directly on the edge of the lace, and the little bit that, you know, is left over from the natural flow of the hairline, because I don't cut my lace like dipping in and out. I cut it rather straight. The concealer I'm using is LA Girl Pro Conceal, the HD concealer in Espresso. And what I was making sure of a little bit earlier was that I don't want this concealer to be too wet. So as you'll also see further down the line in this clip, I am, you know, like testing it on my hand and trying to get product out, but I don't want it to be too wet, because I just want to be able to, like, kind of, it's hard to explain, but I just want to be able to brush through the edge rather than drenching it in product, if that makes sense. So I kind of wanted to be, I wanted to have product on it, but I kind of wanted to be a little bit dry so that I can just free flow and it won't be too much product on the edge. And this is so that I can put the lace on, and the little bit of lace that is showing that I didn't cut and whatnot, I want it to look like skin, and that's why I use the concealer. Pro tip, the concealer that you're using is literally the concealer that you use to, you know, hide blemishes, hide whatever y'all be hiding. That's what you're using. It's not the concealer that you use to contour or anything like that. This is the concealer that matches your skin the most. You can also use foundation for this, but for me, I just want a concealer because it's a little bit thicker and it's gonna last just a little bit longer. So what I'm kind of doing here is is just like how I did with the pressed powder. It's to stain it. It's not to, you know, paint it and make it all wet and all this kind of stuff that you might have seen other YouTubers do when they're tinting their lace. This is to stain the edge of the lace so that the part that is not cut almost blends with your skin. And that is what I'm doing here. And then of course, as I'm going on, I seal the sections and whatnot with the freeze spray, just like how I did when I was tinting the main part of the lace, which was sort of like the scalp. And I think I did a pretty good job. Like I said earlier, all of this is freestyle. This is all random ideas, and it just happened to work. You might be asking how come I was pressing, you know, my fingers into the lace after I sprayed it. I don't really know why I was doing that, honestly. Like I said, I was doing things, but the purpose of it was like smudging the portions that I just worked on while it was sticky. Did that help in any way, form? I don't know, because I don't know what it would have looked like if I didn't do that, but that's just another extra step that I was doing. So after I sprayed it, I kind of just like gave it a couple seconds, and while it was sticky, I was like smudging the portions that I was just working on and spreading into the previous portions that I worked on as well. Y'all can take piece apart, whatever you think will work for you. If you think any of this will, you don't have to follow it step by step. You literally can just do whatever you want. But I was just making sure that what I was doing, I wasn't going to regret, because it's not like, you know, you can erase everything that you just did. But then again, I didn't want to do something like putting concealer all over the main part of the lace, putting layers and layers and layers of concealer, and you can't take that back. So that's why I did the pressed powder versus the concealer on the edges, because I knew putting this concealer on the edge would make it look more natural. I already knew that. Alright, so after I let it dry for a few hours because of the wet concealer, then I tried it on, and you know, after this I made some minor adjustments, but this is basically how it came out to look like. The lighting is extremely harsh here, so it's a little bit hard to see the tinting of the main part of the lace, but you can really get a flavor of how the edges turned out. And yeah, so obviously, you know, I'm not wearing any makeup or anything like that, but even when I put on like a full face and shit, like it really ended up blending pretty well with the edges. As you can see, like on some parts of my face, you can see that you can barely even tell where, like, that there's lace there. It's a little bit different when because my edges are all over the place on my natural hairline, so where I have more edges to stick out under the lace, it's a little bit easier to detect because obviously it's black underneath. But when it's just touching my skin, you can really see that it blends in very well. The reason I was trying it on top of a black cap, my do-rag, is so that I can make sure that no loose powder ended up on the cap, and it didn't. I didn't show you guys it before, but even though it may not look like completely, it was definitely tinted, and it definitely gave off a more natural appearance. So thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.